What if I told you that everything you need is already within your grasp? It's a tantalizing proposition, isn't it? But let's pause for a moment to ponder. How do you define abundance? Is it a mountain of gold, a field of ripe grains, or perhaps it's something less tangible like love or wisdom? You see, abundance is not merely a measure of quantity, but a state of being. So let's venture into a tale that may change your perspective entirely. Once upon a time, in a little village not unlike your own, there was a magical garden. Nestled between the rolling hills and a placid river, this garden was a marvel of nature. It was a verdant oasis, a living tapestry woven with the most exotic and vibrant plants you could imagine. This garden was special, and not just for its mesmerizing beauty. It was tended to by a humble gardener, a man with an extraordinary gift. You see, this gardener had the ability to grow anything he desired in his garden, a power that defied the rules of nature. From the rarest orchids to towering apple trees, from the most delicate herbs to the heartiest of vegetables, there was nothing that he could not coax from the earth. It was as if his garden was a mirror of his heart's desires. Anything he wished for, he could plant and nurture, and in due time it would bloom in abundance. This magical garden was a sight to behold. It was a symphony of colors, a chorus of life that sang of the gardener's talent and his extraordinary gift. The villagers would often stop by, marveling at the garden's splendor, the fruits of the gardener's labor. They would leave with their baskets filled to the brim, their hearts warmed by the gardener's generosity. But what made this garden truly magical was not the abundance it bore. No, it was the gardener's ability to create this abundance, to turn a simple seed into a flourishing plant. It was his mastery over nature, his ability to coax life from the earth, that made this garden a marvel. Yet the gardener, with his incredible gift, was not as content as one might expect. Despite the abundance all around him, despite the marvel he had created, the gardener felt something was missing. He felt a lingering discontent, a yearning for something more. The gardener, however, was not as content as one might expect. Despite the garden's magic, the gardener felt a nagging discontent. Bathed in the glow of the sun and the moon, the gardener was surrounded by a world of verdant abundance. His garden, a paradise of fruits and flowers, was a magical oasis that should have been a source of joy and satisfaction, and yet, despite all the beauty and wealth he was blessed with, a shadow of discontent began to creep into the gardener's heart. Day after day he toiled in his garden, planting seeds and nurturing plants, watching them grow from fragile sprouts into lush, bountiful trees. Yet the more he worked, the more he felt a strange emptiness gnawing at him. His garden was filled to the brim with nature's bounty, but his heart felt barren and dry. The gardener pondered over this paradox. How could he, who was surrounded by such grandeur and abundance, feel so hollow? He had everything he could ever want, and more, yet it seemed as if the more he had, the less he felt. This feeling of discontent was like a stubborn weed growing amidst the beautiful flowers, tainting his joy with its bitter taste. His days were filled with a strange restlessness, the joy of the harvest, the satisfaction of a day's hard work, the sweet fragrance of the flowers. Nothing seemed to fill the void within him. His garden, once a source of pride and joy, now felt like a heavy burden. He began to question the purpose of his existence. Was he destined to forever till this soil, forever trapped in this cycle of planting and harvesting, forever chasing a sense of fulfillment that seemed just out of reach? In his quest for answers, the gardener decided to step away from his garden to seek wisdom beyond the confines of his lush oasis. He yearned for understanding, for a solution to his discontent. And so he turned to the one person who might have the answers. In his quest for understanding, the gardener decided to seek the wisdom of the village elder. With a heavy heart, the gardener shared his plight with the wise village elder. In the heart of the village, under the shade of the grand old oak tree, the gardener poured out his feelings of discontent to the elder. His words were like the river flowing with a fervor that was born out of frustration. He spoke of his garden, once brimming with life, now feeling empty despite its lush greenery. The elder, a man of few words but many winters, listened patiently, his eyes filled with a depth of understanding that only comes with age. He let the gardener's words wash over him like a gentle breeze rustling the leaves overhead. When the gardener finally fell silent, the elder took a moment to gather his thoughts. His words, when they came, were soft and gentle, like the rustling of the wind through the trees. "Abundance," he began, "is not merely about what you possess. It's about how you perceive what you have." His voice, rich and husky, carried the weight of wisdom accumulated over the years. He spoke of the sun that gave warmth, the rain that provided water, and the earth that bore fruits. These, he explained, were gifts of nature, freely given to all. Yet not everyone saw them as an abundance. "Look around you," he said, "at the trees, the birds, the clouds in the sky. Each of them exists in abundance, yet they do not hoard. They simply are. And in their being they find abundance." He spoke of the gardener's own garden, lush and teeming with life. Each plant, each flower was a testament to the gardener's hard work and dedication, yet the gardener saw it as lacking. The elder gently reminded him that abundance is not about having more, but about appreciating what is already there. "Abundance is a state of mind," he said. "It's about acknowledging and appreciating the richness that already exists in your life." With the elder's words in mind, the gardener returned to his garden with a new perspective. Upon his return, the gardener looked at his garden with fresh eyes. His heart swelled with newfound appreciation, as if seeing his little patch of earth for the very first time. He strolled amidst the towering sunflowers, their golden crowns reaching towards the heavens, a silent testament to the beauty of life's cycle. The apple trees, previously a symbol of his discontent, now stood as a testament to nature's bounty. Each apple, ripe and juicy, was a marvel of nature's abundance, ready to nourish and delight. Each leaf, each flower, each blade of grass was a miracle of life, a testament to the endless patterns of growth and decay that make up the ebb and flow of existence. He realized as he walked amidst the lush greenery that he did not need more. He did not need a bigger garden or more plants or more fruits. He had enough. More than enough, in fact. His garden, in its quiet, unassuming way, was a symbol of abundance. This realization brought a profound sense of peace. No longer was he a gardener discontented with his lot, but a gardener at peace with himself and the world around him. He understood now that abundance was not about having more, but about appreciating what one already has. It was about seeing the beauty in the everyday, in the ordinary, in the simple act of planting a seed and watching it grow. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the elder's wisdom, for it had opened his eyes to a new way of seeing and understanding the world. He understood now that his garden was not just a plot of land, but a microcosm of life itself. It was a place of growth and decay, of beginnings and endings, of life and death. It was a place of abundance, and so the gardener finally found peace in his plentiful garden. The gardener's story serves as a metaphor for the concept of abundance, don't you think? Abundance doesn't necessarily mean having a garden filled to the brim with every type of plant you can think of. It's about having a garden that blossoms with joy, a garden that's filled with the plants you cherish most, a garden that's enough for you. Our gardener, once discontented, learned this from the wisdom of the elder. He realized that he was already surrounded by abundance, but his perception was clouded by his desires for more. His eyes were open to the beauty and richness of his garden when he began to appreciate what he had, rather than yearn for what he didn't. And isn't that the key to understanding abundance? It's not about amassing wealth, possessions, or even plants in this case. It's about appreciating the richness of what you already have, your perception, your gratitude, your contentment. These shape your understanding of abundance. When we focus on what we lack, we fail to see the abundance that's already present in our lives. But when we shift our focus, when we begin to appreciate what we have, we realize that we're already living in abundance in our own unique way. In the end, abundance is not about having everything, but appreciating everything you have.